Progress.
You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, a member of the Nation network of podcasts and delivered by DoorDash. 1 hour of straight hockey talk with Dan, Rick, Tyler, and Bag Milk starts now.
Oilersnation Radio episode 200. It is a celebration today at Nation HQ. Liam here, Rick here, Tyler here. Dan might show up. We don't know where
He'll be here right away.
He said 1 second.
But we
Dan
already
will come
started
in.
rolling.
We're rolling anyway. So we're going to just start off. Tyler, we kick it off every single episode with a delicious debate for our friends at Oodle Noodle. Now 17 locations. Probably
Look at the
near
smiles
you.
in here. Look at the smiles in here right now.
Yeah,
There's a
like can we
lot
just,
going
before
on.
we get into the work part of this, can we just talk about what a vibe life is right now?
So I was driving in from the West End today, and I decided to take a different route. I want to drive through downtown, and the number of jerseys just out in the wild, cruising, the car flags are everywhere. Then on the flip side, you're reading people like, I have some Flames fans, car flags are already off the car, no more jerseys. It is a celebration here in Edmonton, the best time to be alive.
It absolutely is. So let's get into the delicious debate and dissect this thing a little bit. We'll talk about the Coleman goal and all of that. But I quite
Coleman
frankly,
no goal. There's a Coleman no goal, by
The
the
no
way.
goal. Sorry.
Known cheater,
Yeah.
Blake Coleman.
But today's Oodle Noodle delicious debate is: what was the most impressive part of the series victory?
I'm going to start with Rick. You've been positive all year, pal. I got to start with you.
It was sheer dominance. Even when they're down, game one went, however, it was a 5-1. They tied up 6-6. Things didn't really go their way. They lose that game. They never, ever gave up. They looked at the better team the whole damn time. They were in Calgary's head the whole damn time. Markstrom, he looked like a shooter-tooter out there.
He let in 4+ goals every single game of the series.
And what is he? He was in the top 3 of the Vezina?
Yeah, he's a Vezina candidate.
Are you kidding me?
He got out-battled by Schmitty.
Absolutely everything the Oilers did was impressive.
Battle. Schmitty battles.
Yeah, Markstrom
Schmitty
doesn't
battles,
battle.
baby.
Yeah.
Markstrom doesn't know how to battle. He's got at least a decade and a half until he learns how to battle.
That's why he didn't sign here.
Yeah.
There's a criteria you have to battle.
And he
How much
wasn't
of
ready
it,
to battle.
you got to think, at least, he would probably never admit it, but for Mike Smith, you have to think that's something in that series that was driving him for motivation.
Because he was his replacement.
Yeah.
Right?
They went for Markstrom first and then looped back to
I
Mike
didn't
Smith.
think of that.
Yeah.
Had to be something like that.
I think that's just in his system, though. That dude does not like to lose. It's in his personality. That first game didn't go the way he wanted it. The couple goals didn't go the way he wanted. He just kept fighting through it.
And now you go into the series where you might play Colorado, and the Oilers tried to acquire Darcy Kemper this season to replace Mike Smith.
Yep.
Kemper should be worried.
Yeah.
Colorado should be worried that
That
they might
too.
get eliminated by St. Louis.
Oh, come on now.
Dan, coming to you, what is the most, for the delicious debate for our friends at Oodle Noodle, what was the most impressive part of the series for you?
Rick, you kind of hit it on the head, and I just kind of narrow in more on the moment. For me, it was when is there something wrong with my audio?
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
Okay. It was in game 2 when this team went down 2-0 in that game early. And like Rick said, that was a fold up the tents and we're going to go to the next game kind of moment in the pre-Woodcroft era of these Oilers. And it just wasn't the case for this team this year. You saw it again last night. We were down 2-0. And did anybody in the room feel like they were in trouble?
No.
Not me.
No.
I know we had a 3-1 series lead, but then on top of that, you just had confidence that 2-0 was not a deficit we were worried about. As you guys mentioned, the Flames allowed more than 4 goals, but how many times did the Flames score more than 4 goals? They haven't done it. I think they've done it twice in the last 15 games. That team just always has had an issue with offense, and it came to rear its ugly head again during this play, or just during this series, and the Oilers dominated on the offense.
Leon Draisaitl had more points than their entire first line.
Did you see that thing where Leon Draisaitl will be third in playoff scoring if he just took his points from the Calgary series?
It's crazy what they're doing. Liam, what was the most impressive part of the series for you? Oh, sorry, Dan, go ahead.
I was just going to say with that point too from Liam, I think McDavid against the Kings was 7th most points in the playoffs so far this year. So
Most impressive?
Yep.
Zach Hyman.
How can you not love
How
it?
can you not?
A goal in every single game of the series.
It was crazy, and he was just scoring them at such important times. And last night, he hit the post as well right at the end there, didn't he? So that could have been a huge one. So I would give mine to him because he had a decent first series.
Yeah.
Yep.
and then to show up and exceed all those expectations even more. So
And that emotion on his face every time he scores a goal.
time.
Come
He
on.
loves scoring goals.
Does anybody get more? Well, okay, maybe me, but does anybody get more excited than Hyman?
No, it's just like
McDavid.
Yeah.
so fired up.
I
So
wonder
fired
if
up when Hyman scores. Like just the photos that we've had of him throughout the series as he's scored and just the excitement and the celebration, incredible.
Bag Milk, you need to get back on the sending cards.
Oh, absolutely.
And start shipping them out to the 6. Ship them out to the 6. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for not re-signing him. You know,
I was just gonna say, do you think Leaf fans could go back now and take a swing at Hyman instead of Bunting as the option?
I want to know which
Wow.
players off that team they'd be willing to get rid of to keep Hyman right now.
Yeah,
I
that's-
think
I was gonna say.
really at the end of the day, the only guy I think would be Matthews.
Yeah, maybe.
Marner's going to be right up there, but I think in a playoff series, you're going to want Hyman a little bit more.
Yeah,
And then nobody
Bunting
else
did
there.
have a good year, but he
100%.
obviously what Zach Hyman's doing right now is just it's just incredible. Like he's just on a total different level. And for all this talk about the Oilers superstars carry them, blah 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 blah. Like Zach Hyman did some really really good stuff in that series. I get that McDavid and Draisaitl assisted on the goals, but like Hyman put him in the back of the net. He scored a big shorty. I mean, he scored in every game. Like they don't win in 5 if it's not for Zach Hyman.
Was that not an issue against Chicago? Was that not an issue against Winnipeg that we just didn't have the guys that finished the shots?
well, and that's what is
I
so
don't know.
funny to me, where it's kind of like I was really surprised to hear Calgary go with giving the Oilers bulletin board material after game 3, where they said, well, we got beat by one guy. Well, which one guy was it? Is it Connor on one night? Is it Leon every single night? Hyman scored every game. Vander Kane fucking lights out good again. Nugent Hopkins had his own game. Mike Smith out-dueled the Vezina candidate Markstrom.
13.
Which one guy was it? Yes, Puljujärvi, his first goal of the series was an absolute beauty, hustling to the net. Big man moving.
Need that one.
Evan Bouchard with the bombs from all over.
Yeah.
Evan Bouchard, he really impressed me with his ability to get pucks through on the net.
Yep.
Tell me your guys aren't like through the roof excited about the youth on this team right now. Yamo,
McLeod had a good night.
McLeod.
He didn't score, but he had a great night.
Bouchard.
Yeah.
Come on, those 3 guys alone are going to be massive players in the NHL the way they're going right now.
Tyler, most impressive part of round 1 for you.
Their resiliency and mental toughness. And it's hard to quantify something like that, but they trailed every game against the Calgary Flames in Calgary. They trailed by 2 goals at one point.
Ended up pulling out 2 wins. You
3
said
wins.
it
Oh, yeah,
all.
2 wins, sorry.
You said it all playoffs
tied it.
long. You're not in trouble unless you lose at home.
Yeah.
Calgary lost at home twice.
Yeah. But they were down by 2 goals every game in Calgary, and every game, even the one they lost, they came back and tied it up at some point.
Yep.
And that game, they were down by more than 2. Like, their ability to just not be phased by going down and, they go down 2-0, they don't change how they're playing. Just, no, we're going to keep trying to force our game on the Calgary Flames, and they did it time and time again. It even shone through when Smith gave up the field goal from the other end of the ice. You think traditionally that crumbles the Edmonton Oilers.
No, they came out.
Did
They
not.
Going to OT at
they
least.
owned the
got
rest of
better.
that game. They owned the rest of that game.
Yeah, it was almost like this weird wake-up call where they were like, all right, shit, let's get to work. And they did. And just that right there, I think it's a product of the message that the coaching staff sends them. I think it really is. Jay Woodcroft has this team in a fantastic mindset. And I think it's the leadership of this team as well. And that's Connor, and that's Leon, and that's the vets that they've brought in. Like, all of it. It's just so much was impressive. But the way they were able to just not get phased by going down, not get phased by breaks not going their way and stuff like that was incredibly, incredibly impressive.
For me, the most impressive part about this series, you guys nailed it all with the players from Connor all the way down the lineup. But the way Jay Woodcroft was able to adjust on the fly when he felt like he needed to, and the moves were working always. And he's going up against a cup winner on the other side. Yeah. This is the first time he's been in the Stanley Cup Finals as a head coach in the NHL. And yes, he's had a lot of experience in the playoffs as an assistant coach, but this is his first time running the show. And just the adjustments he made, like last night, felt he needed a boost, so he swaps Hyman and Vander Kane. What does Hyman do? He goes out and puts up 3 points in a massive game.
Yamo and Puljujärvi swap lines too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even like benching Archibald and Cassian last night.
Yep.
Just like, hey, Ryan, you're doing well. Then you go and play out, and they did well with Fogle and was that Puljujärvi as well?
I think so, yeah.
He got switched out.
It was like, yeah, he's not afraid.
Yamamoto with the flip in game 4, moving him up with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Ends up getting an assist on that game-winning goal for Nuge. So, to me, how can you not give Jay Woodcroft some love? I cannot wait till that extension comes through because, man, has he earned it.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Dustin Nielsen tweeted today that it could be a 5-year extension for $100 million and no one would care.
I would, not long enough.
I said that $100 million could come straight from taxpayer dollars and no one would give a shit.
I think Liam, before we started recording, Liam said, I'll start paying him. If
He's on Nation Network payroll just to get it done.
So there's just from the crease outward to behind the bench, there's a lot of things that went right for the Oilers. And I know we're going to talk about the Blake Coleman thing, and Flames fans are understandably upset about it today, but that wasn't the reason they lost the series either.
Ew.
We're just the better team. I'm sorry. Like, we went 2-11-2 in the middle of the season, and at the end of the day, we were what? 1 win behind them?
Well, what about the 3 previous games before that told the Flames that they were going to guaranteed win that game because they were up by 1 goal with 6 minutes left to go? I don't know.
That too.
I know everyone said that.
To me, that team was coming hard. The Oilers were going to come hard and try and push that overtime at least. So I don't know. I get it. Like you said, bag milk. But at the same time, as a fan base that has sat around for 5 years scratching our heads about what is holding a pad, we got it.
Another thing too about, and we were talking about this again before we started recording, the Oilers exercised the OT demon last night at the best possible time. They had lost 6 in a row in the bonus frame, dating back to 2017 against the Anaheim Ducks. So that is a stat that obviously it's not great, but to have them come out and win last night at the Saddle Dome, send 17,000 people. There's a lot of Oilers fans in there. What? All those people get them sent home unhappy. One of my favorite shots that Hockey Night in Canada has was the red lot, or whatever the fuck it's called, clearing out.
I want to see that.
It was so good. It was everything I needed in that moment.
There was a part during the show as well where they were so intense in here, and they like panned over some Calgary fans, and they were just all dead face, like no emotion. And it panned over the Oilers fans, and they're all fist pumping, singing the SO songs. Oh yes, it seems very intense for one fan base.
Listen, I was so tired about this whole series. Is everything about Calgary? Everything Calgary. Calgary's this, Calgary that. Calgary's not doing this, not doing that. The Edmonton Oilers came out and they stopped 2 100-point players. They came out and they made a Vezina candidate goaltender look like a regular, look like a come on. This team needs and deserves more respect from national media, the international media, the local media. They deserve everything they got in this series.
Just to
keep
kind of
goating us.
Please.
Well, that's another thing too. We talked about it before the series started. We're just like, you know what? Embrace the underdog mentality in the sense that everybody picked Calgary. The fucking great one picked Calgary.
Mark Messier did not refuse to do it, and I'll love the Moose for the rest of his life for it. But they took that challenge head on, and they did not give 2 fucks what anybody thought. We're the better team, and they went out and proved it. Period. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of did the same in round 1 with the Kings too, where they just shut down. Like
they shut them down. They were a little nervous in against LA, and you saw a big difference in when they started playing against Calgary. They kind of got that first thing out of the way. They got a first win out of the way against LA, and they came in and they were confident, and nothing was going to hold them back.
Yeah, and like I'm just trying to find it here, but even against the Stars, like Kempe had that one game where he had a couple of goals, the overtime winner, and Kopitar was not Kopitar in that series either. Like 2 series straight, the Oilers have done a good job of shutting down the best players on those teams.
Yeah.
I thought the Flames' best player was easily Michael Backlund.
Easily.
He was good.
Yeah.
And they needed more than just him.
How about Woodcroft in the post-game press conference saying, like, the names he rattled off? He was like, Backlund gave us a tough go. And then he just did not say Gaudreau or Tkachuk or Markstrom.
They didn't do anything, though.
His press conferences
mentioned
were masterpieces throughout this playoffs.
Good.
He is trolling at the highest level, but he's doing it in a way that doesn't seem like he's doing it.
He does it so well straight-faced, but when you saw him behind the bench, when he's trying to hold that smile back and he's just got that stupid little grin on his face, that little smirk coming out. Oh, man, I love this man.
I love him
his
too.
His entire mannerisms have been portrayed in that one single GIF of him coming off the bench and stopping at the red line, right?
That is
he hits that
good.
line and he stops and he waits.
But he hits
on the line.
But he hits that position too. He hits that pose. If he doesn't hit that pose, it doesn't look as good. He hits that pose, pops the hip out, and just waits.
And he was waiting
by
there for a
himself.
solid few seconds.
It's almost 10
so good.
It's almost 10 seconds.
No coaching staff flanked him or anything. It was all him.
And he
all the
whips
time.
that door open. Oh, dude, that's one of the greatest things you'll see out of this whole series.
That's the first time we really saw him celebrate at all.
Yep.
In any way.
Oh, but it's so good. Like
It's
him
so
jumping
good.
around on the bench, and just the celebrations, all of it. Whether it's Woodcroft, McDavid on the ice doing his new little patented celebration that he did against LA as well.
Very iconic.
Yeah, that's the iconic McDavid celly, and then McDavid going nuts with Devon Shore in the hallway too.
Devon Shore, how about Devon Shore? He hasn't played really, but he is still the team's ultimate cheerleader right now, and I love every single moment of it. I've watched that clip of McDavid coming down the hallway where the Cowboy and Shore are just all over him. I love it.
This team's a team, man. Their team's a family. These guys are all close. This roster is going to be tough to stop.
Like, how good is it that it was a Battle of Alberta? How hollow would this be if we had beaten the Dallas Stars in 5 games?
Not
It
hollow
just
at
wouldn't
all.
It wouldn't feel the same, Rick, and you know it.
I promise you, my
the Southern
smile would not
Albertan-
be any smaller.
Oh man, there's something about having we have the title of Alberta again. We're now 5-1 in the Battle of Alberta. It's pretty gross to see how it's gone for them, but I'm so glad it wasn't us. And you know what? This little bit of rest, I think, is going to help us for our game 1 doldrums that we've had the last.
Well, that is nice too. That like what Dan's point is now, guys like Leon. Although is he actually injured? I started to believe he's not. Darnell Nurse get a couple of days of rest where they can just chill. Maybe head on over to Connors, sit in the fucking hot tub a little bit.
Baby.
You know,
Epsom salts in there.
speaking of.
I think they're a big sauna team, so lots of sauna
nice
time for the boys.
That'd be nice. Speaking of some injuries, news came out today. I always find this interesting when a team gets eliminated. You find out what players are working through. Over on the Flames side, Chris Tanev was playing with a torn labrum, separated shoulder, and sprained neck. Will be getting surgery next week, according to Rick Dhaliwal. So I always find that interesting in the playoffs. Is just like everybody is a broken person in this, but they still do it anyway.
How did he stand upright? I don't understand.
Why were they forcing him to play? Like, it's not like he was
so
that
crazy.
I'm
good.
pretty sure he was fucking beating the door down. I mean, let's face it. If you couldn't keep 29 off the ice, you couldn't keep 25 off the ice, it's going to take a serious... I mean, remember what Bergeron went through a couple years ago? That dude was like...
basically dead.
Yeah,
His
he was
insides were
legally
outside.
half dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's hockey, man. That's what they do.
Yep.
The delicious debate for our friends at Oodle Noodle. Again, 17 locations near you. But if you're celebrating on Friday, you don't want to cook, maybe you had a late night last night, our friends at DoorDash will bring it right to you. Go check out Oodle Noodle on DoorDash. Ding dong. Liam, maybe give me one.
Ding dong.
Thank you.
That was a good ding.
It's a live one, too.
There we go. That was a live
Not
one.
even
I
the
like that.
soundboard.
I like that. So let's talk about the other thing everybody's talking about today. Blake Coleman looked like he gave the Flames a 5-4 lead with about 6 minutes left, something like that.
Yeah,
Just inside.
under.
I did not expect that goal to come back.
I did not either.
I'll be the first to say it. I didn't think it was going to come back. At first, when they was going to review, I'm like, Jeremy Kupel, you clever bastard. Is this
Okay, what were you thinking at first? Because at first I was like, okay, that might have been goalie interference. I don't know. However, I also believe their entrance was going to be really close, which it was.
I didn't think it was the entrance because when they showed the angle from behind the net, you could kind of see Coleman hold up.
Once they showed a replay, then I was like, okay, it's definitely not this.
But then when I thought it was goalie interference when on the ice when it happened because Nuge immediately pointed, and I thought what happened was he had hit Smith and then the puck had gone through.
Yep.
But clearly that didn't happen.
Yep.
And then he kicked it.
Yeah, so I thought it was gonna be goalie interference, and then they showed another one. I'm like, okay, he doesn't touch him, so that's a goal. And then he used to go off his foot, and then the whole bar just goes quiet as everyone in their heads going,
I think everyone thought there's no way.
It was one of those things where I looked at it, I watched it as they're doing the review, clearly was onside. So I'm like, okay. And then they say this isn't a challenge from the Oilers. This is a booth review. And I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. And then you see the kick thing and they're like, oh, is that a kick? Is that a kick? I was like,
Angles.
maybe, but
Angles.
I don't know that they're going to overturn a goal call on the ice in that moment in Game 5.
It's a broadcast thing, though. Like, you guys aren't, nobody is alone in feeling this way because they, like, the camera angles that we were being shown were just all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was because they were scrambling to try and figure it out.
they're just showing all the camera angles.
There's
There's a lot of cameras.
That angle, though. But as soon as you see that angle where the foot just does that extra little
The
extra little something.
The net cam was the first one to me that kind of set it off. I was like, no, that looks like it. And then there's one that kind of looks down on the crease from, I guess would have been like Markstrom's left. Yep.
So this one, Frank Saravalli tweeted one that's kind of like above Smith over his glove hand shoulder. That's the one that's the most damning probably, where it looks like Coleman gives it a kick. The funny part about it is the goal, that was probably going in the net.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
If he doesn't touch it, that's a goal.
There's an outside chance, a very slim chance, maybe Nugent Hopkins gets there to clear it, but
Smith wasn't moving.
He thought he had it maybe. That was going in the net. That was a massive break for the Edmonton Oilers, obviously. But I also, even if that went in and it counted, I wasn't counting them out either. 6 minutes left. That was plenty of time for the Oilers to come back and tie it.
They just done it.
Yeah, we just went through a minute 11 of where like 37 goals went in the net. So I was not too worried at that point.
But then at that same point, like, okay, that's a tough break for Calgary. You still had 6 minutes in the rest of the third period. You still had overtime to try and close it out. You could not get the job done.
Yeah, like that moment, you could maybe argue it lost them game 5, but it didn't lose them the series. I even struggled to say it lost them game 5. My take on whether or not it should have counted is it should have counted.
Why?
I think the rule...
I think it should have counted too.
The rule is you can
obviously.
direct the puck in.
Correct.
And there needs to be a distinct kicking motion. The fact that we are debating it this hard means there was not distinct kicking motion.
But what's a distinct kicking motion? Because when they asked Sutter and he's like, oh, it's when someone's laying on the ground, kicks him in the head. Well, yeah, that's like the one very far side of it.
For me, distinct is intentional.
Because Reed Wilkins and I
think it was intentional too, though.
Friend of everyone, Reed Wilkins and I were going through the verbiage in that rule 49-2, and there's part of it where it says propelling the puck forward with your foot after the distinct kicking motion part of the verbiage. So if it's propelling the puck forward with your foot,
yes,
he did do that.
Yeah.
See, I mean, if you go back to like something like soccer, that ball, you can push the ball with your foot, and that's a kick. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to like wind up. This is not like a field goal.
The problem, or the thing you have to do, though, is you just have to watch that Saravalli angle is really good because you watch Coleman's left leg. There's no motion there that is trying to stop.
No,
he's
not even on the ice
right from the start. He's kicking towards the puck. He's moving his foot towards the puck. And you know what? He all power to him, really, because the reality is it then goes to the judges and you hope it goes in.
I don't know. I think there's a bit of assuming here and for them to overturn a call too was the other reason I thought maybe it should have counted is because again, distinct kicking motion. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not.
So
but
did they call that a goal on the ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know if it was flipped the other way, I think I would have been real pissed off if that got overturned on the Oilers.
I think another thing too is they talked about this on Hockey Night in Canada too. You can see CC coming behind him, which kind of motions Coleman that way even more. So how much interference did CC have on his leg to push him in that direction?
He didn't push him from his knee down to extend his foot out.
It's the leg extension, like Rick said. To me, that's where the kick comes in.
And it's at like the very last second, too.
And that's why I thought it was interesting, Kevin Bieksa, which I feel very weird agreeing with him all the time. He's a really good broadcaster.
He's so good on television.
But he said, listen, if he's not trying to kick that puck in the net, his left skate, which is the one that ultimately pushed it over, should have been parallel with the right going towards the post rather than being directed at the puck. Yep. And I found it interesting last night. I was checking out what the ESPN NHL players were saying. They said that's a goal, whereas both players on the Hockey Night in Canada crew said that is not a goal.
Do you think that the player answers are based on positions at all? Like Bieksa's a defenseman. He's probably going to stand up for the goalie.
I don't know.
Anson Card, like I don't know who was talking about on the American
Kelly
side
Rudy
there.
Was saying it was.
Well, Kelly, we're not going to talk about Kelly Rudy.
That was just like
he kept
when I saw he was filling in.
It would go against us.
When I saw he was filling in for Craig Simpson, who was ill last night, I was just like, oh, fuck, we're just getting like a Homer version.
Dude, guy's from Edmonton too.
I know, but when there was that play early in the game where Lucic just like grabbed Kulak and threw him into the boards and then went and dummied Hyman, I was like, that's 2 penalties in a play. And Rudy's like, there you go, Lucic. That's how you make an impact.
So weird.
I'm like,
I was just like, they're giving Lucic praise for catching up to Hyman finally and hitting him from behind after he had dumped the puck in. Like, what are we doing here? He's so bad. Is there any way we could pay him to play for Colorado in the next round if they get through? Because he was awful. Mike, actually, Waz pointed it out before we recorded. Mike Smith had more points than Lucic in this series.
I couldn't believe when they were saying Lucic had no hits in Game 4.
because he barely played. Like he's just not good.
Yeah.
You have to catch guys to hit them.
Yeah. The commentating last night was a little annoying. The whistles being put away early in that game was also
that was
a little
terrible
annoying.
officiating, man. Lack of.
But even so, we talked about this on the Beatcast last night, Tyler. Whistles were away. Oilers won the special teams on both ends. 1-for-1 on the power play, killed off both penalties they faced. That's a perfect night on the special teams.
Yeah, that makes a big impact, right? Like a lot of people, it's weird, and I think we talked about this on the Beatcast yesterday. My memory's a little fuzzy, but
it's been a long 25 days, buddy.
You know when the Oilers would win in the regular season off the back of like McDavid and their special teams, and people would be like, "You're never gonna win in the playoffs like that," because the traditional thinking is playoff hockey is button down, defensive, perfect structure, 5-on-5, nothing called, all this stuff. The third and fourth line will win you games. And the Oilers, through 2 series, are just taking that and being like, oh no, that doesn't matter. We're going to win the games with our stars and our special teams, and we don't care.
We're 10 forwards.
Fuck your structure. Like, we're just going to run around and do whatever we want.
One thing that I was really surprised about last night is that the Flames were so willing to open it up and play the Oilers game because they're not as nearly as good at it.
A massive error, a critical error. Something that cost them the series was their inability to play their own game, and I give Woodcroft and the Oilers full marks for forcing their style of game on the Flames and being relentless. Even when you went down, they kept doing what they knew would bring them success.
That's what it was. The Oilers went out there and dictated how the game's going to go.
It's like when the game opened up in the second period, it favored the Oilers in every possible way. And it was a wild clusterfuck of a sequence. You had 6 goals in 8.5 minutes, but that's what the Oilers wanted. The Flames didn't want that.
You don't want them scoring.
Well, you don't want those, but
I get it.
The opening it up like that, though, you don't want that because the Flames would try a zone entry, it would get broken up. Oilers spin it like on Jesse Puljujarvi's goal. They tried a zone entry, it flopped. The
Transition
Oilers
game.
pin it around, 3-on-1. Hyman tries to rip one through. Yes, they're there to bang home the puck.
Our defense. Oh, that's so good.
That's so good.
There's a picture. Oh, sorry, Dan. I guess it's Coleman's skate kicking a golf ball into the cup.
I also want to give Ryder from Play 107 some love because he was pretending to be a Calgary Flame this morning.
He was pretending to be Milan.
He was pretending to be Milan Lucic, calling golf courses in Calgary to book a scramble for 18 players. He's just he wanted to turn the spirits around.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
I'm jumping all over the place now because I'm just going through my likes on Twitter to see what else I want to bring up. Bag Milk, I know you loved this moment. The Nuge McDavid hug.
Oh, that hug was so good.
I have it right in front of me. That clip was everything. Like how
Nuge just nuzzles his head into Connor's little neck area there.
Aww.
Another one too is when Yessa scored. I love Connor going over to him, shaking his helmet a little bit and being like, that's a big goal, baby. Needed that one.
Yeah.
His team, man.
That quote from Connor afterwards, I have it here from our Instagram. It was a big goal, really big goal for Jesse, really big goal for our group. He's somebody that has stuck with it, and for him to contribute tonight with a goal, I thought all series long he was great, bringing a lot of energy and physically doing his thing. It was great to see one go in for him.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
Love to see that kind of stuff. You
I
love
love
to see
that.
him. Connor McDavid recognizes game, right? And Connor McDavid understands what Jesse does for Connor McDavid. It's just that this team, you see the unity. It's the little things, The Instagram posts after the game talking about this group. That's been a big theme after last night. This group is having fun, and who the hell knows what we're going to do against the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues, but I am stoked to be here, boys.
I think it's crucial too, just to kind of continue what Dan said, the young guys that are up in the stands right now, like Broberg, Holloway, Savoy's up there,
guys that are going to be here next year.
These are the guys who are coming, and this is just a start.
That's how you build culture.
Exactly, right? They're seeing what Devin Shore's doing in that tunnel right now, being like, this guy hasn't played a minute. And when he does play, he plays a minute. And he's just so amped for everyone. It's just so good that everyone's getting to experience this right now, because I truly think that, this is going to continue now for the Oilers. It's just seems to be lining up pretty perfect.
They got that Mamba mentality.
Job's not done.
Job number 2 done. On to job number 3. I love it.
And
Sit back, enjoy this game tonight, gentlemen.
yeah.
Let's go 7.
I just still almost can't even believe it. Like,
Yeah. It
I
doesn't
don't know.
Yes, yes and no. Like I was never doubting the team. However, like being a fan as long as we have, these
some trauma
things
there.
don't happen very often to us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, talk about a 3-1 series lead too. Like we don't know what that feels like. We don't know that kind of confidence. We haven't seen one of those since the 80s in this city. There's so much about this run already, and it's just getting going.
We were up 3-0 against Anaheim in 06. So that's the last time we would have had a lead
Wow.
like that.
Good. Yeah, geez.
Because we were down 0-2 to San Jose, then we won
Right.
4 in a row, then won 3 in a row. So we won 7 in a row. So yeah, last time we did this, we was 06 against Anaheim.
I'm just thinking now about game 1, obviously went the Flames' way. Game 2, they start off scoring 2 goals, and the Flames fans were so fucking cocky.
But no, some of those goals were so lucky. They needed like 3 exact bounces to go in that first
They were
goal.
so cocky.
in order for it to
they
go
were
in.
cheering for Smith's saves, and then all of a sudden the tables turned, and all of a sudden the Oilers come roaring back, and all of a sudden the old Saddle Dome's a little quieter than it once was.
Do you see the sad dome?
The Sad Dome's so good. So
lot less
good.
Brady Kachuk cameos.
He wasn't around at all, was he?
That's weird.
He must have went home.
With his brother after game 1.
Brady
Yeah.
Kachuk was more
Keith-
noticeable than Matthew Kachuk in that series. That's,
Dude, he was nowhere out there.
TSN turning point has to be when Keith didn't throw his hat.
Obviously, that was the issue.
I love that. That's getting pointed out a bunch of times today on Twitter. And another favorite thing about the social aspect of this is that Oilers fans, we kept our chirps kind of quiet throughout it. We just, we gave them a couple jabs here and there because they earned it. But then last night when the buzzer went, the fucking floodgates opened.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was piling on. It just like, okay, we're through now. Fuck you. And we've got this one for a while.
Do we want to listen to the Jack Michaels call?
Yes,
Of
please.
Yes.
course. Of course.
Is Bluetooth up, Liam?
It is on.
It is on.
Let's do it.
Ah, damn it.
He's got to turn the volume back on. No, it's all right. It's all right.
We'll get there.
There we go. It's coming in hot through the mic.
Let's go.
Created a turnover for Draisaitl inside McDavid, and shot scores! Connor McDavid has won the Battle of Alberta for Edmonton! 5-4 in overtime!
How much fun were the boys having in that celebration too?
Oh, my God. Although, did you see, I tweeted about it.
Hyman.
Hyman took one right in the
elbow
mouth.
or his stick, whatever he
He got
took.
smoked hard. Like, you could tell it probably actually hurt him because he, like, went limp against the boards, but he was just held up by everyone else, like, jamming in there.
Mike Smith with the jumping fist pump coming down the ice too was great. He was one of the first guys in the pile. I was super happy for that guy because again, like we mentioned earlier, it had to be in his mind. He's just like that fucking guy. They tried to get him down there.
But even like for all year, everyone is just like he's too old, he can't do it, blah blah blah. Whether it be like Oilers fans or people outside the city, a lot of people expected him to fail.
Just go listen to any episode of Oilersnation Radio from January or February, and you will find
Just
Mike Smith
greased
slander.
over that, Rick. We really appreciate it.
They expected him to fail, but like from day one.
But the thing that we do that it annoys me that other people don't do is when he turned it around, you give him glove for turning it
Yes.
around.
Yeah, you can criticize
Well,
the guy,
you
but at the
call
same
yourself
time, you
out.
can sit there and
Same-
say he's doing an incredible job right now.
Same with Duncan Keith to me.
Yes.
Like Duncan Keith he's had moments where you go, fuck me, man. Like it'd be nice if you were 25-year-old Duncan Keith, but he's played really well throughout the playoffs, and he deserves some love for what he's doing as well.
Did he not start the scoring in game 2 after we were down 2-0?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
when you were talking about the Keith turnaround, I honestly thought you meant when Duncan Keith scored in game 2.
Yeah.
But it's...
Why?
He picked up a big
Bagnock and
assist last night on Evan Bouchard's goal.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday. I am so tired of seeing that Ben Pope tweet being like, where Keith's talking about his skating every time
Yeah.
Keith makes a mistake. It's like, man, we are going to the conference finals. Leave this guy alone. Leave everyone alone. Like,
Everyone's doing a
we're
job.
the Final Four now.
Yeah.
Like, that's enough.
Exactly.
You know?
And there was that one moment where the puck was up in the air in our zone, and that just
He
felt
batted
like
it
one
out of
those
the air.
ones. Yeah, and he got it out of midair. Like it was probably going to hit the top of Smith at some point. I don't know if it was going to fall forward or backwards, but who knows? Instead, Duncan Keith whacked it out of
There was
midair.
another one
I
when
do want to give the Oilers a lot of credit. Sorry, Bag Milk. I just want to give a lot of credit to the Oilers for their stick especially in these closeout games.
Yep.
It seems
Sticks
like
in the
they're
lanes.
batting pucks out of the midair. Like Draisaitl last night dared one of the defensemen to try and beat him, and he, after like 3 seconds of the defenseman waiting, he still couldn't beat him. So
There was
yeah,
another
I
one
love to
where
see it.
Duncan Keith last night, Johnny Gaudreau was fishing for a breakaway, and he got the lob. They went for the lob pass. Duncan Keith just knocked it out of midair. Just handles his
Good
business.
So Duncan Keith, just quickly to get some nerd stuff out of the way. If you remember the deal, it was that 3rd round pick. And if the Oilers make it to the Cup Finals and Keith is top 4 in time on ice for Oilers D-men during the first 3 rounds, the pick moves up to a 2nd rounder, right? He right now is 2nd on the Oilers with 190 minutes. But if Brett Kulak plays 13 minutes and 3 seconds more than him in this next round and the Oilers win, pick stays the 3rd.
Listen,
Just saying.
But you know what? If
We
the Oilers
just-
get to the Stanley Cup Finals, I don't give a fuck.
You can light all their draft picks on
we
fire.
said that in the summertime. What happens if we get to the final? That at that point, I don't give a shit what about that fucking draft pick.
Yeah, I remember thinking,
But we
that too.
have-
It's like, who cares? We're in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
What does it matter?
We do have to watch Brett Kulak's usage, though. If it starts to trickle up a little bit more and more, you're like, oh, the guys are watching.
The Oilers are up by like 4 goals in the clinching game, and Kulak plays. He doesn't come off the
Yeah,
ice. in the third.
he's on
playing
the right.
whole
He's
third.
Pronger for the last half. of
Keith
that.
walks down the hallway.
I was just going to say the only person that's actually angry would be Duncan Keith.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm just scrolling through Twitter right now and seeing some of the chirps going at Calgary. Just again, I love that Oilers fans kept it under wraps until the final buzzer last night and just unloaded the clip as soon as the game was over.
Yeah, your
So
tweet about the Don't Worry Flames fans, like it'll kick in or whatever you said.
Yeah, that one's going around. It's making the rounds a
clever.
little bit. I said it may hurt now, NHL Flames, but one day you'll get a kick out of all this.
I sort of recycled that when I did my radio hit today. I said, oh, for the Flames fans waking up, I'm sure the heartbreak is kicking in right now.
Again, probably could have been a goal. Not the reason they lost.
Nope.
They just weren't very good. Now,
They weren't. They got beat.
question. Was that the last time we see Johnny in a red uniform?
Yes.
Yes.
In a Flames uniform. let's just
Yeah,
say
Flames
that.
uniform.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he'll be in a New Jersey Devils red sweater soon enough.
Dude, that guy was halfway to the airport when Connor scored his goal.
Well, like
He was turning to it.
that right there is. He had the big playoff Game 7 OT winner. That's yeah, he had his moment. He was good in that first round. But to me, that's why you won't win with Johnny Gaudreau is that McDavid OT winner.
and Sean Monahan.
Well, I mean, he wasn't even in the lineup.
That's fair, but he wasn't like, even if Monahan wasn't there, he wasn't going to change
Like,
things at all.
You know, like Gaudreau, you're a stride away from just grabbing Draisaitl, pinning him up to the boards, and potentially forcing a turnover. And instead, you peeled away in an elimination game overtime.
The body,
that's
look at the body language on
Yeah.
the guy. He's like standing straight up, one hand on his stick. You know, he might as well been in practice watching some other guys run through a drill.
It's one of those things too where like I was looking at it a little bit from a Flames perspective this morning. A lot of them are like, well, Johnny's job there is to cover the point. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but you were right there. You can't fly by
Sometimes
Leon
you just gotta
Draisaitl.
go off script.
Yeah.
Because I think Pike tweeted out something about like, it was supposed to be a breakout, but then McDavid kind of interfered with it because he read it so well. Who cares if you're supposed to peel out? The puck's there now. The breakout's done.
Yeah,
Stop
everything's
that
changed.
guy. Yeah.
So we had John Goyens on, and he's been head coach at some different levels, junior and things like that. We had him on the Daily Faceoff show today, and he talked about that play. And he said that is an example of a player too wrapped up in the X's and O's. Because, the X's and O's play is to move to the point. And, this is now me talking. I don't know if that's laziness, if that's just, I'm just going to cover my point guy and leave him. If that's a coach is in your head too much saying, no, you do what the X's and O's are or you don't play, whatever it is. John Goyen said you need to always have room for instinct in your game. And
If that's 13, they're calling it lack of IQ,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly what they're
Oh,
saying.
I was confused for a second because Johnny Gaudreau also 13.
Touche.
You're talking point guard.
It doesn't
I
matter.
was a little lost too.
Also looks 13.
The other narrative that is floating around through some fringes that I just hate is the whole, oh great, McDavid and Draisaitl dragged him here. Now we have to pretend like Ken Holland's a good
I
GM.
was just reading tweets on that.
And it's like, listen, I still don't like the Duncan Keith trade. They paid too much to get him, okay? But the Cody Ceci signing was fucking awesome. The Zach Hyman signing is unbelievable. Getting Nuge done, unbelievable. The Kulak trade at the deadline, unbelievable. Getting Jesse Puljujarvi not only back in the Oilers organization, but giving him a 2-year deal when a 1-year deal was kind of the thing that was going around that
Derek
we assumed would
Brassard
happen.
makes Greg walk.
Yeah. Team guy.
So I was watching the game with one of my buddies last night, and he was like, "Hey, is Brassard playing?" He's not like a diehard Oilers fan. He just came over the game. He goes, "Is Brassard playing?" And I was like, "Holy shit, he's an Oiler."
I did forget about that. It's like a similar moment.
But like, you know, the whole narrative of like,
later.
McDavid and Draisaitl are just dragging them here. Me. Like, shut up.
Well, and also, if you're going to give Ken Holland some credit, you got to give him credit for doing the first thing he's ever done in his career as a GM and punting a coach mid-season when they needed one.
Yeah.
What?
He'd never done it before. The Oilers were off the rails. They were in 10th place when he made the switch. Jay Woodcroft comes up from Bakersfield and turned the fucking season around.
And don't forget about our boy Dave Manson either.
Dave Manson, what Dave Manson has turned this defensive group into that no one expected anything from is incredibly impressive to me. They're all playing hard. They're all playing for each other. They're getting in the lanes. They've got good sticks. They're moving the puck effectively.
I'm going to get yelled at for this one, but let's not forget that other trade because I'm fairly certain that defenseman hasn't played a game in the playoffs yet, has he?
Ethan Bear?
Yeah.
He has not. I said that as well.
No games in the playoffs.
It's like, hey, I don't think Warren Fogel's exactly moving the needle on this team too.
No.
He looked
But
better
at
last
least,
night.
at least he's playing.
He's in the top,
And he's,
yeah.
you know, and like also one player that you guys didn't mention was Evander Kane. You know, he took
Oh, the guy averaging a goal a game?
I think that's him. Like to take a risk on a guy who had so much baggage and like it could have gone either way.
And remember, everyone is saying, I don't think the Oilers have the leadership to be able to handle this guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was one of the, I'll fully admit, I was one of the people that say, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze on this guy.
Yeah,
But
I said that too.
I asked Frank Saravalli the other day, and he's just like, there has been no word, nothing about anything other than his best behavior.
No, he just goes in there. He's a businessman. He goes in there, gets his job done, and goes home.
And what his job is pumping goals home.
Baby.
Again, I looked at my betting account this morning. Shout out to me for going heavy on Evander Kane to beat Matthew Tkachuk in scoring in this round. That was a nice little win for me.
How worried were you after game one? You're like, maybe not.
Yeah, I was a little
Twice.
concerned about it, but then game 3, he gets his hat trick of his own. I was like, all right, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Remember what Frank Saravalli said a week ago on this show?
Yep.
Yes.
When he said, you know, the Flames have the ability to make this a short series and the Oilers do not. And at that point, we were down 1-0.
I made sure he repeated that because I wanted to hear and then I wanted to hear if he was going to go back on that prediction of Oilers in 7.
Ever since he picked us to go to the finals in 2018, I think. I've been a big fan of the guy.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was funny.
Are we going to talk about the Kane the Kane contracty thing?
I just right now, like I could they sign him? Yeah. You know, Dreger's got the thing going and all that.
Do you not like? To me, this is some of that conspiracy theory stuff that we're like, oh, they're not going to sign Nuge, they're going to move Nuge, and they sign him. Like everyone gets so worried about this. Now they're like, oh, Holland's going to retire right away, which I do think actually he's going to be done at the end of the year. Maybe one more year, but probably this year.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
I bet you they
But
bring
he's not.
in.
But he's not going to sign a 5-year contract and like just doesn't give a shit because his replacement is here already. His replacement is working in Bakersfield.
That's
You think it's going to be Keith?
His place, yeah. His replacement is not going to allow him to do that type of a move and then not bring up these kids he's been working with for the last 2 or 3 years and put him in the lineup.
It's one of those things too. Like when you look at Evander Kane, like you got to try.
Yeah,
You got to try, but like,
move Fogle, move Cassie, and you got the money for Kane. Done.
but you need to pay McLeod, who's not going to be cheap.
That'll be cheap.
I don't think
He's not going to be
McLeod
cheap for
crazy.
long.
No, but you could probably get him on like a 3-year cheap.
You'd get a bridge.
Deal.
3
Okay,
year,
now what?
1.9 mil.
Now what about Papa Bush?
Bush, you should probably go the Clefbaum route with
Yeah,
him. And
I
give
would
him a
100% do him a
$7 million deal.
8-year max for Bush.
Yeah,
And you're going to sign Yamo.
yeah, he'll be 2.5 to 3.25 or something.
Signing those guys pretty much takes Kane out of the picture for me, and then allows us to keep 13. And unless Kane wants to stick around for a cheap deal, that's where I see. That's where I see this going.
He could also have, again, I
Yeah.
talked to Gregor about Gregor about this. He could also have a big chunk of money coming from San Jose.
Good.
If he gets that, then how cheap can he stay here for 2 years?
Also, I like you saying that, they're not just going to let Holland sign a big deal if he's about to retire and leave. Stares directly at the Mikko Koskinen contract.
I guess with Bouchard though, like Keith's deal will be up by the time Boucher's deal's up. So there's 5 million off the
But how
Unless
long
the
do you
Oilers
wait?
win the Stanley Cup this year and old Duncan, he's going to, you know
I've
what? It's
said this-
sangria time out in the Okanagan.
I've said this all year. I do believe that Duncan Keith is done at the end of the year. Win, lose, or draw.
Usually I'm a nerd for this stuff and I love it.
You just want to talk to win.
I don't even give a shit.
Okay, that's fair. But this stuff kept popping up, and I just hated the conspiracy bullshit that the Oilers are going to do this and they're going to screw each other. That stuff annoys the shit out of me. So I had to get it off my chest.
I saw someone tweet last night. They were like, "Is anyone else like not enjoying this because they're petrified with how Holland's going to like fuck it up in the summer?" And it's like, what?
I'm loving this.
The beers taste great.
They're fucking great.
Yeah, that was what was that? That was Copper and Blue, I think, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Like that dude needs a hug. Whoever's running that account is just like, man, we are going to the Western Conference Final. Have a little bit of fun. Let's worry about this shit in August or July, whenever the draft is this year. Like, let's chill, man. The Oilers are going to be playing in June. Come on.
Evander Kane could still find himself winning a Conn Smythe trophy. Like there's so much that his valuation can do here that we just don't know about. So yeah, I'm all aboard of.
There's a big sexy German that's standing in the way of that one for me.
And a good looking Canadian.
Hey, maybe Kane comes up and he's the one guy that beats Colorado.
Speaking of which, I want to give Kennedy some love, our graphic designer. Kennedy's trash.
I still remember the beginning of the season without that.
He's trash.
on Twitter, she put a compilation together of Connor and Leon talking about how much each other means to the other, and I've watched it a few times today. It makes me. Her video edits are fantastic, so I want to give Kennedy some love for that.
Kate's has to go buy them houses next to each other,
bunk beds, just in case they want them.
Give them part ownership in their next contract.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine you could do that kind of shit? Like, Connor, you get 10% of merch. Like, okay. You get that floor in the JW.
Yeah, whatever floor you want.
Yeah, whatever. Good times. Western Conference Final, going through. How many of your brackets have been broken because you picked the Flames to go past the Oilers? If you did, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
I nailed it. I had Edmonton, or no, I haven't nailed it yet. Damn it, Colorado hasn't won.
Yeah, they're almost there.
The only thing I have right is that Edmonton beat Calgary. My entire bracket is destroyed.
Cornerstone Insurance, for 90 years and 4 generations. They've been a family and employee-owned business right here in Edmonton with all the insurance products you could ever hope for. Auto, residential, commercial, life insurance. Get on over to cornerstoneins.ca. Click the About button. There you will find a Citizens of the Nation tab on the left-hand side of the screen. Get yourself a discount on your insurance. Why not save a couple of shekels? I know I'm spending a lot of money during this playoff run. I could probably use some savings. So I will head on over to Cornerstone Insurance. I will get myself some savings.
You haven't been hammering the withdrawal button on any of your sports books?
I withdrawed a little bit. Last night was very good for me. But I'm also letting them roll. You know?
I tweeted about this. A week after the Oilers fired Tippett, it was like a Friday night. They had just won 4 straight under Woodcroft. Based on the timestamp on my sports book, I was rather intoxicated when I did this, but I bet on them to win the cup at 40-1. I probably just had a little bit left in my account, so I threw $20 on them to win the cup. It would pay out $820 or whatever, and they're offering me a cash out. Last time I checked, I think it was like $190.
Not worth it yet.
I have. When I went down and got married in Vegas before the season started, I put $100 on the Oilers, so I stand to win $2,900.
Oh, that'd be delicious.
That'd be some.
That would be delicious.
But you'd have to make a trip down to Vegas to cash that.
Darn.
Shucks.
Yeah.
That
Probably
money
not
ain't
worth
coming
it.
back, though.
It's just I went down to collect my $2,900 and I came back with nothing.
Make it a day trip. You like fly in, no bags, go to the sports book, transaction, back on the plane.
Maybe go see Carrot Top, a nice celebratory show. That'd be nice. Go to the Luxor, see Chris Angel, Mind Freak.
The Blue Man Group.
Who doesn't like the Blue Man Group?
I'll tell you one thing.
Maybe Britney's back. Who knows?
Did she ever leave?
Never. Not in my heart.
I learned something in 06. I made one big mistake in 06. After they beat Anaheim, that very next day, I went to Kingsway, I went to the Oilers store, and I bought that Western Conference Champions hat. I promise. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's the reason why they did not win. I promise, no matter how this next series goes, I will not be buying that hat.
Let's talk about the next series. Colorado, St. Louis still have to get done tonight. It is Game 6 in St. Louis tonight. Do you have a preference? Obviously, I think for NHL hockey fans, McDavid versus McKinnon is the preferred matchup. It would be so exciting. But do you have a preference on who the Oilers play?
I'd rather play St. Louis. I think St. Louis is very Calgary-esque. Like their forward group is deep, but they don't have Binnington out. Husso's been below average since he came back in.
I don't think they can skate with us either, though.
I don't think they can skate with us. I don't think their blue line's quick enough. And again, their forward group, like Tarasenko's sick. I'm not saying he's not, but they don't have McKinnon and they don't have Makar and they don't even have a Rantanen, in my opinion.
Kadri.
But my only skeptic about that would be how well they've played against McKinnon this series with Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
But I don't think McKinnon's as good as McDavid, but he's, McKinnon has 3 goals. They came in 1 game, obviously, but...
O'Reilly, Kopitar, how did he handle...
but O'Reilly's better than Kopitar.
Not nowadays.
I'm with Liam on that one. To me, it's the St. Louis Blues are a mucky team, whereas the Colorado Avalanche, we are going to run and gun with those guys for 6-7 games. So for me, I want the Colorado Avalanche. I would be scared of the St. Louis Blues just the same as I'm scared of the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I think that those two teams
won before
shut down, and they've got that pedigree, but they can just shut it down. Whereas
they got to try. They got to
with anybody.
They got to try and shut down the Edmonton Oilers, though, and that's not easy. That no one's done that yet. I know we've only played Calgary and LA, but this team, look how many goals they put up this last series.
Well, and that's exactly it. And I, same mentality I had as with the Flames series too. I wanted the Flames. I want the Avalanche because I want the best series possible for this team, because I think that this team can win it too.
Dan, how did you get one of those KFC hats last night, by the way?
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
It was a KFC Canada thing. We just happened to notice some jerseys walking around.
To give you context, if you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, Leon was wearing a K on his hat. Mark Spector asked him what the K meant, and he said it was missing the FC. So KFC Canada was just like, well, let's capitalize on this free promo from Leon Draisaitl. Back to you, Dan.
Yes, so KFC Canada was there, and they handed out a bunch of these black KFC hats with the proper K on it from Draisaitl's hat, of course, and they bombed that into the moss pit, so everybody was walking around with KFC.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw a bunch of those hats last night.
Great marketing.
Yeah, just like
amazing.
The easiest.
And KFC Canada loves Oilers Nation.
Oh, of course they do. Everybody does, except Flames Nation. They're not having a great time.
Yes.
Last night I was checking out, just cruising Flames Nation to see what was going on, what was the vibe there on the site, and I went into the comment section, and it was just being bombarded by ON readers. Just nonstop, just absolute dismantling of their conversations in there. And the complaints were very funny to me.
Good.
Block out all these Oilers fans. I'm like, I've got the keys, and you're not going to get what you want. Good times. Good times. I got to tell you guys, I've got 3 questions for our friends at Buster's Pizza. Ask the Idiots coming up. Buster'sPizza.ca. I guarantee if you go there today, maybe it's a celebratory pizza. Maybe you get ready for the 3rd round like Tyler did earlier in the 2nd round by getting some za. Maybe you're getting a donair. They got some pasta deals here that I'm looking at. Who wouldn't want that? A little bit of garlic bread and some pasta. Everybody's having a good time with that. Maybe some wings. Maybe you're treating the temple. You got a salad.
Get some salad. I tweeted this out the other day. I'm not sure I've had a vegetable since the start of the playoffs.
Gotta mix in a salad.
I had one with my donair.
Did you have any stress bananas last night?
I had 4.
No, you didn't.
I swear to God, I had 4.
Ah, shit.
Why do you do this?
Well, first, they're pretty tasty.
Yeah, of course.
And they're just right there. They're just hanging. My mom literally came up to me before game 1 and she said, so I bought some more bananas.
Doesn't want to cramp.
Like the vision of you rolling into your parents' house to watch these games with them, coming home and just eating every banana they have in the house, and then at the end of the game, they're like, see ya.
Well, I didn't eat any for games 2, 3, and 4.
There you go.
Saved them all for 5.
What was the banana distribution? How did it go throughout the game?
I had 2 in the first.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one's... I was very, very anxious in the game. And then
Sure.
I had one early in the... I had one right after everything went chaotic.
Yep.
And I had one going into overtime.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. You got to get that. No, that's just like the boys. You got a quick pizza in them, so they got some fuel for the overtime period. I get it.
That's fucking
Don't want to cramp up at that point.
All right, for Ask the Idiots for our friends at Buster's Pizza, I've got only 3 questions today. If you don't know the bit... submit your questions. You got a chance to win some free pizza. Boys haven't seen these yet, so I've just got 3 questions. I'm going to get their first take on it. Dan, I'm going to start with you. First question for Ask the Idiots and Buster's Pizza. Which Oiler are you the happiest for that they made it to the conference finals?
Oh, that is. I'm not going to steal your answer, Big Milk, because that's a pretty good one. I think for me, I'm going to say Jesse Puljujärvi, which I think I'm stealing from Rick. But I just, for a guy that has been through the ringer, talking about Nuge as well as Jesse, to be back in this city, to be back, being able to score a goal in a conference final clinching game, it's just awesome to see. And that smile, I think you add Zach Hyman to the list now. If those two guys don't smile in a day, it's going to be a bad day. So let's just keep that smile going. So yes, Puljujärvi, you're my answer.
Liam.
I'll go Smitty. I think after, the season he had, there was a lot of critics, obviously, that we spoke about. And there was even critics coming into this series.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he played better than a Vezina candidate. Like, he obviously had his ups and downs. But now
every goalie does.
Yeah, who doesn't?
They can't all be Vasilevsky.
Yeah. And even he had his ups and downs. So, yeah, I'll go with Smitty because he battles.
Tyler.
I'm going to save your boy, obviously. Connor. Come on. His smile when he was doing his interview with Scott Oak, the passion in the celebration, him jumping up and down with Shore coming off the ice. Think of the stupid narratives of this guy can't play defense. You can't win with the way Connor McDavid plays. This guy's not a good captain.
People were texting that to
Spectre on this
1260.
thing?
I was listening to Tommy G on 1260 in the first round, and after the Oilers lost game 4 and 5, those texts were coming in that you can't win with McDavid.
But here's the thing about that narrative too is we watch Connor McDavid every game. He's been more physical at points. But I haven't noticed Connor. He's not been more exceptional defensively. No, man, he's just winning. And now the narrative is suddenly flipped. He is a good leader, which he always has been. He is okay defensively, which he always has been good defensively. That was just kind of made up because the Oilers weren't good around McDavid. So I'm really happy that McDavid's won and we're seeing him smile and all this stuff. And also that just the narrative of him being a bad leader and bad defensively is finally dead. And you knew it would come with playoff success. It was a garbage narrative to start, and I'm happy we're through it.
Rick, who are you happiest for?
Tyler's right there with Connor, but I'll take Leon here. This guy's doing things that everyone's always said he's doing what he does because he rolls with Connor. This guy's out there. He's putting up more points than Connor. He's going through with this mysterious leg injury. He's doing things out there that you kind of saw Messier do when him and Gretzky were here. It separates him from that whole they have to be together. I know they're playing together or whatever, but what he does out there is phenomenal, and just him getting to this point is such a boost for him, but it's a boost for everybody in the damn dressing
How many
room.
records did he set this series? 3?
This is silly.
At least 2.
Most points per game in a series, right?
Most assists in a playoff period.
Yeah, and then most consecutive 3-point games.
3 NHL records in this series.
So
Did
Wayne,
he have 5?
he's at 5 right now.
5 in a row.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
Wayne Gretzky retired at 61 records. Wayne Gretzky walked into this playoff, I believe, with 61 records, and they're starting to go like that. I think Gretzky had that record about the consecutive 3 points.
That's what happens when you bet against his Wayne.
He also, reverse psychology though.
Those are gonna start falling a little bit.
Leon Draisaitl has 11 assists in his last 3 games.
And wait.
What the fuck?
And Calgary lost to one player.
Yes.
One player.
One player.
Well, we are all one player.
One guy.
Come on, what are we doing? He has 11 assists in 3 games.
He had 5 games with 3+ points. That's absurd.
In a row.
17 points in 5 games is just lunacy.
Plus money, by
Imagine
the way,
how
on
many
the
we'd have
sportsbook.
with 2 legs.
Yeah, well, he's been working with 2.5 instead of the usual 3.
Hey.
Just to wrap it up, obviously the Oiler I'm happiest for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. 11 years, 8 coaches, 7 years without the playoffs, 5 general managers, and 2 consecutive first-round exits. Our boy, our prince, our king is finally moving on to the Western Conference Final. He had a massive game in Game 4. Got the opening goal out of Markstrom fuck-up. Got the game-winning goal with 3.5 minutes left. My boy, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I'm so pumped for him. He just, that hug again between Connor and Nuge after
And
the
it wasn't
game.
like, it's not even like celebration. It's like relief. It's like.
And also, Nuge played a huge role in this, right? It's not like he was just a passenger. which
Absolutely
is great.
not.
What was the game 2 and game 1? He had a huge goal as well, right? Sorry, not game 1. The first series. What game
That was in game
that?
3.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a big goal then as well.
when they
Like,
smoked him. Yeah,
It's come up like
Absolutely
because they
dubbed
were
him.
kind of coming back. So I guess
Yeah.
it wasn't as big as the one, but like two big moments.
Yeah.
and he made. Remember,
He got more points than Kachuk in this series. He kept pace with Johnny Gaudreau.
second period, game 7 against LA. The Kings are about to get a clear-cut breakaway, and Nuge's back check stripped him of the puck, got possession going back the other way. Like, he made big plays that weren't goals as well, which is what I love. Can I share with you guys this number? I was
Please.
pulling it up. It's McDavid and Draisaitl related.
Go for it.
Okay. Since the year 2000, so, 22 playoff runs, players who have had, it's points per game, and you have to have played at least 10 playoff games. So you had to go to at least the second round. McDavid and Draisaitl, 2.17 and 2.17. Third on that list is all the way down at 1.75. And it's Crosby and Gensel from 17-18. Like, they're lapping the field of players that have played in the playoffs in the last 22 years. It's unbelievable. Like, if you want to have fun, just go to NHL.com and just sort different shit and just click around the stats pages for playoff runs. Like, it's wild.
What the amount of points these guys are putting up right now is it's lunacy.
It's crazy.
And if you find out which one guy beat the Calgary Flames, please send it to bagmilk@Oilersnation.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
Well, I'm fairly certain you pointed out last game that it was, or in the last couple of days anyways, it was their goaltender.
Yeah, Jacob Markstrom is that one guy that beat the Flames, I thought. Allowed 4+ goals in every game in this series. Oilers had his number. Again, I love the OT goal, but I don't think that was a strong goal on Markstrom last night. Low glove, baby.
Well, like, let's go through the goals. How many of them were low glove on Markstrom, right?
They were love like
Zach
the whole
Hyman
series.
in game, what was
One.
that, game 1?
Yeah.
Game 1. They scored 4
Two
goals. I think,
garbage goals on Markstrom.
Yeah.
That's not to take anything away from Zach Hyman. The guy his work ethic is just unbelievable. I've never seen an engine on somebody like that.
He refuses to not be the hardest working player on the ice every shift. Like, it's just balls to the wall every second of every minute.
These guys are winning all their one-on-one battles, and that's what's the most impressive thing right now.
I was just gonna say it was funny yesterday when Hyman got hit by Dubé, and then like 5 minutes later just came across the same position, just cleaned out.
Kept his head up in 1 second and just ran him.
He killed him.
Yeah.
He said, I want to know what he said too, because he got up and he looked back. He said something. I just skated away.
Head up.
Question number 2. Ask the idiots for our friends at Buster's Pizza. Hypothetically, if the Blues and Avs go to Game 7, the Western Conference Final doesn't start till late next week. Draisaitl will have about a week, give or take, of no play and rest. Do you consider splitting up Connor and Leon for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, Rick?
That's a great question. You know what? You consider it for sure. I've said it before. I think we have a top 9 set of forwards, and any combination of those 9, I'm pretty much okay with. So, yeah, you can contemplate it for sure.
Tyler?
What was the question again?
Say Blues, Avs go to Game 7.
yeah.
You get the extra days rest. Leon's maybe feeling a little bit better. More time in Connor's hot tub. Do you consider splitting them up, or do you keep the nuclear deterrent together?
Nuclear. You got to go nuclear, I think. It's working. It's just working really well. Maybe if, knock on wood, you go down 1-0, 2-0, and you're like, hey, we really need a spark here, and Leon's at 100%, you do it. But for right now, nuclear is working too well. You can't split them up.
I do enjoy, like, regardless of anyone's answer, I do enjoy if we'd said this in the regular season, everyone's like, no, you got to split them up. You can't do it. I know they're really good together.
It won't work on playoff time. I said that all the
Exactly.
Always
I
that.
love that.
But the interesting thing, too, about how Jay Woodcroft's running his bench is even though they're together a lot of the time
Still
and have
splits them
been
up.
since Game 6 against LA, he still splits them up. He mixes Connor out there. He throws Leon out there with an extra one. Like after a PK, he'll mix guys in there. So Woodcroft, again, running his bench very interestingly. Leon, would you split them up or keep them together?
Leon.
Liam?
Yes. As Leon, I would keep us together. But also,
You had as many bananas as Leon has points last night.
that's how I base it.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what they do. Like if you go 11-7, I don't think you need to keep them together full time because you can just rotate it and just kind of play them that way. If you're going 12-6 for the next game, I would probably keep them the same too until something changes. Because I also think the other lines are starting to play so well together that you just got to keep it rolling. Because that second line's been really good. I think the interesting thing, though, would be Hyman and Kane. Do you flip them back? That'd be the biggest question for me going into Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
Dan, what do you think? You keep them together or split them apart?
I think I would split them apart myself. If you're playing the St. Louis Blues, just because, again, I really feel like the Blues are a team that can smother, and I would rather have the ability to go to that nuclear deterrent instead of starting with it. If you're up against the Avalanche, in my opinion, you're in for a gun battle, and so you might as well put your guns together and make a giant Zord gun like they do in Power Rangers.
I think for me, I would keep them together to start. Like, I'm kind of one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of things, but Woodcroft will adjust. So
I kind of like Dan's point, though, of, like...
I almost do it opposite, though, because when you're going against a big offensive team, that's when you buckle down defensively. And when you're going against a team that's going to try and blanket you, it's when you fire all your guns at one spot.
So
I would just be afraid of losing game one, and then your nuclear deterrent is you're kind of asking that question mark of it, instead of you lose game one and then you're like, well, do we go back to the nuclear?
I think what I would do for game one is I would leave Leon and Connor together, put Kane back up with them, because that line has been pure sex for the most part in this playoffs when they play together. I would have Puljujärvi, Hyman, Nuge back together as your second line, and then just kind of go from there, because Woody's going to adjust regardless of what's going on in the series. Question number 3, the final one for our friends at Buster's Pizza. Ask the Idiots. Liam, I'm going to start with you. What has impressed you the most about Jay Woodcroft through this playoff run?
I think we spoke about it a ton, just his ability and just confidence just to change the lineup whenever he needs to. I think that's a pretty easy one to go to. Just, he wanted to play Leon and Connor together. It worked. Switching Yamo to get that goal right at the end, that worked. And even Hyman to the top line yesterday, and that worked.
Tyler?
Yeah, it's those little in-game adjustments. And, sometimes I get from a fan perspective, like the blender can be frustrating because you're like, lack of chemistry, let them play together, let them sort it out. But when it works as well as it seems to, whenever Woodcroft pushes those buttons, you just kind of start to accept it and understand it more. And I also just think, again, I talked about this off the jump, but this team's ability to put mistakes behind them and move forward and not let deficits rattle them and not change the way they're playing when maybe things don't go well for 20, 30, 40 minutes in a game. They just keep chipping away. And I think that's Woodcroft's mentality being shown through the way they're playing. Like, he has this team in a great spot, a great headspace, and I just don't think that can be overlooked.
Rick?
This is going to be a cheap answer, but everything. I'm going from like the mind games he plays at the media with, someone's not playing, he's not really telling you what's going on with it, to the changing of lines, to the 11-7, to when he's speaking to the media and drops the 63 games played by their goaltender type of thing. Like, he's so cerebral in absolutely everything he does. He's phenomenal. Like, I don't know who to compare him to, but as a rookie coach, like, this guy is absolutely everything he's doing is turning to gold, and it's not like it's almost like he can't make a bad decision right now.
Dan?
For me, if I lend from like another sport, a good coaching staff in football is a team that, you can have a flat effort in the first half and you come out and it's a whole new team in the second half. And with this hockey team, I feel like it's the same way right now. You go into a period down 2 goals or 1 goal, and it really feels like Woodcroft is going to identify, and his staff is going to identify the issues that you have or things that we can try that might work. And it feels like you said, Rick, it's like a cerebral assessment of a lot of little things. And I really felt like that with this series, especially that this team knows more about the goalies than they care to admit. There's so many parts of both the games against the Los Angeles Kings and now the Calgary Flames where they approached shooting the puck differently, and you love to see that kind of stuff. So yeah, for me, it's just those little subtle things that give you confidence as a fan that, you go into a period down 1 goal, it's not going to be that way going into the next intermission.
For me, I think it's since he's come aboard as head coach, since he got bumped up from Bakersfield, how many players have we heard on the Oilers that have say, we know exactly what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We have got detailed instructions. We've got feedback. We know exactly where we're supposed to be. He spreads out the minutes. He keeps everybody in the fight. Just having everybody included, it's like what Rick talks about. This is a team. It's not just a couple of guys playing a whole bunch of minutes while others just sit around, although Cassian played 2.5 minutes last night, but deservedly so. I just think that the communication, his style of communication is exactly what this team needs right now, and they're responding to it well. And then secondly, like Rick said again, his post games and just his cheekiness in the media throughout the playoffs has been amazing, because it's not like he's outright trolling. He's just giving you facts and numbers, but he's doing it in a way that is completely trolling. And I absolutely love it.
I think my only critic of Woodcroft is sometimes he has a little weird belief in certain guys.
Yeah.
Like, there was a point yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Keith and Kulak played together in the last 2 minutes of the game, and the last time we saw them together was the
OT
overtime
against
LA,
LA.
and it's so weird that he plays him like that.
Who's joining who? Who's getting bumped off that? Is Kulak losing his partner?
I think Bouchard's getting
That was
kicked
Bouch
out of
getting
it for sure.
Yeah, Bouch.
Because he's just not as good at his
you're
own
just
end. And I
you're
understand
just
you got
more
two
confident.
veteran
You're
guys.
more confident.
I
in
get
that.
that. And even Archibald and Cassian, putting them out in weird spots. That's the only thing that bugs me about him when I say it, but I kind of contradicting my own point. But there you go.
You haven't had a banana today.
Yes.
All right, boys, who gets the GC here? So who you happiest for that made the Western Conference? Split Connor and Leon, or talking Jay Woodcroft? Those are the three options today.
I like number one.
Who you happiest for? Let's peek.
There's
at the
two.
positive.
I like one as well.
There it is. Their winner is Aaron. Shout out to you. I will reach out to you. Who are you happiest for that made the Western Conference Finals? Everybody wanted to say Nuge, but they saved it for me. So bonus points and a stress banana awarded to everybody on the panel. I want to get your take on this hot take from Editor and Leaf.
Oh,
that just
yes,
went
I
out.
was just reading it.
The Hyman contract is one of the worst contracts in the NHL, possibly in NHL history. Thoughts?
He's an idiot.
He's playing in the second round.
Third round now.
Third round.
Third round, yeah.
Editor and Leaf, that guy's whoever this is has put out a lot of garbage before. Somebody wants clicks, somebody wants some attention, and there you go. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's just a masterclass in trolling.
I wouldn't even call it a masterclass. I'd call it a desperation.
Wow. It's made
desperation.
us break into the middle of our podcast and talk about it.
Well, because it's funny. It's desperate, just like when they started hacking at Leon's ankle there in game 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the hell it was. Everyone's like, what is this? I said it's desperate. It's desperate.
The replies to this are magic, by the way.
Just speaking of that Draisaitl thing, this reminds me of this. So Frank, obviously doing his due diligence as a insider, reached out to the NHL and was like, hey, are you aware of this Draisaitl stuff that's going on? Are you keeping an eye on it? And the NHL, obviously, because it's Frank, wrote back and we're like, yep, officials are made aware, blah, blah, blah. So Frank talked about that and broke that little nugget of info on the pregame show. Waz clipped it and put it on TikTok. And some Flames fan commented and was like, this is so unprofessional. I can't believe it. You're calling the NHL about this while you're on a show sponsored by an Edmonton car dealership. Would you be saying the same thing if your title sponsor was a Vancouver car dealership? It's like, what?
This guy doesn't
The answer
understand
is
how Frank
yes.
works, clearly.
No. I thought that was funny. Anywho.
There's a lot of life that goes over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes over a lot of people's heads. All right. Liam, it's time to get the buttons ready. Let's wrap it up with our Twig and Berries hot and cold performers. Head on over to twigandberries.ca. Use the promo code NATION15. Get 15% off your order. Or go see them out in St. Albert. You might even see Tyler there. You might be shopping for some new undies. You guys can model them together. You'd look great. That's just my opinion, but I think you should probably do it. Twigandberries.ca, as we do every week, boys. We start off with our veggies. Nation Dan, I'm starting with you. Your Twig and Berries cold performer of the week.
Well, I was going to do this last episode, but I thought it would be bad luck to look ahead a little bit. I'm going to look forward to Nazem Kadri. First of all, nothing you do on the ice can deserve any of the remarks and the nonsense that you had to deal with after it. But for me, your name keeps showing up in these incidents where a player goes out for the series, or a guy gets hurt and it's an accident. But for me, Nazem Kadri, you're going to get my cold performer of the week because your name just keeps showing up in these things, and I want you to stay the hell away from Mike Smith. So you get my cold performer of the week.
Oh, that's cold.
Tyler, your Twig and Berries cold performer of the week.
I'm going to go with, I said it earlier because, we're an hour 13 in, so I've pretty much given every take possible. But the people just not enjoying this. What are you doing? What is the point of being a sports fan if your team can't go to the Final Four and you can't just enjoy it and forget about it? It's part of the reason why I'm not really doing articles and takes on what could come this summer and all of this, because just positivity is king right now. things are going so well. The beers I'm drinking taste better than any beer I've ever drank in my life. It's good times. So for the people bitching, you're my cold performer of the week.
Are you thrilled? I'm not.
Those people aren't thrilled, and I don't get it.
Rick, your Twig and Berries cold performer of the week.
See, this is weird because I know to be a cold performer, it means you have to perform, which means you probably have to be there. But Matthew Tkachuk. I am fairly certain I saw a picture of him in the handshake line, so it was nice to see him put his skates back on and come out and shake the hands after the game was over.
Did he play last night?
He was in the handshake line. That's all I can guarantee you.
Oh.
And this is the one time where I'm actually going to enjoy the cold performance. Like, again, performance, put that in quotations. But yeah, Matthew Tkachuk, good luck. See you, kid.
You're as cold as ice.
He also, Matthew Tkachuk also had a great view of Connor's OT win.
I was going to say, that was the first time I saw him when he was peeling away. The sad face.
Liam, your Twig and Berries cold performer of the week.
Blake Coleman. If you're going to kick the puck into the net, don't tell people you kicked the puck into the net.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
What should I do here? Which angle should I go? My Twig and Berries cold performer of the week is, I guess it's the fact that the Calgary Flames couldn't even muster any kind of response to extend the series whatsoever. We were all expecting a long one. We were hoping for a short one, but the Calgary Flames, you got an absolute clinic. And Daryl Sutter, by the way, last night saying not the best team won, the best player won. Bro, the best team won. You know it. We know it. I know you're trying to, deflect from the boys' failures a little bit, but you also get a bonus Twig and Berries cold performer of the week.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I probably could have edited that one better. It doesn't need to be that long.
No, you got to let that keep going.
No, that's so good that way. All right, we're flipping the ledger. We're finishing off with our dessert for our episode 200 Oilers Nation Radio. Twig and Berries hot performer of the week. I'm still in the first one. Happy 6th birthday to Ben Stelter. Woo. It is a big win. The Oilers came through with you for a big gift. I'm so happy for you. I'm hoping you're having the best day. We're playing La Bamba all over the city for you today, pal. Happy birthday, Ben Stelter, my Twig and Berries hot performer of the week, the playoffs, and the season.
He's a hot guy.
Yes, he is. Nation Dan, your Twig and Berries hot performer of the week.
You stole mine right from under me, Bag.
After Dan refused to steal Nuge. What a move.
Yep.
Hey,
it was crazy.
It's the way it goes. My Deuce Vodka hot performer of the week is going to go to the song that Bag Milk mentioned, La Bamba, taking a special spot in this city's heart. It's been amazing to watch, and so for me, let's hear La Bamba 8 more times, and then we'll wait until next year. So La Bamba, you get my hot performer of the week.
It's getting hot in here.
Liam, your Twig and Berries hot performer of the week.
I'm going to go with Ryan McLeod. A few weeks ago, I said to Tyler, I was like, what is Ryan McLeod? What is this guy going to be?
As a person?
No, as a player. But now, I think he's playing really well in both ends and just being a very reliable player. I'd like to see him put the puck in the net, hopefully next round.
That'll come.
But he's getting the chances, and that's what's important.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Rick, your Twig and Berries hot performer of the week.
For the week, I don't know how you do anybody besides the big German. Look at his points to go no further than the stat sheet. Look at him on the ice, whether he's got a hurt ankle or not. That man is absolutely dominating out there. And this team would not be where they are without him.
Yeah! Shout out to Little John. Tyler, wrap it up. Your Twig and Berries hot performer of the week.
I'm going to give it to us. Ooh. 200 episodes of Oilers Nation Radio.
Yeah.
I was distracted because I was trying to figure out when I joined because I don't remember.
That's fair.
But I think it was around episode 60 is when I showed up. Really? Either way. I don't know. I don't fully remember.
I don't remember.
Anyways, I'm sure we could figure it out. But 200 episodes, and we're going to get to watch the Oilers in the Western Conference Final. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that. Oh. Shout out to Oilers Nation Radio. Shout out to everyone who listens along, too, because, I mean, I look at the numbers. And I'm appreciative of every single one of you that does this and tunes in every week. It's just great. This is, when Frank came to town, he asked me, he was like, hey, which show do you like doing the most? And we were sitting in my car just outside the window here. And I said, Oilers Nation Radio. Because I just love it. We have a good time every week. I love the community we have, the Ask the Idiots questions, all that stuff. So I'm giving the hot performer of the week to us. All right. Thanks, Liam.
starting off the next 200 right.
Okay, redo. I wasn't sure. Not really a Price is Right.
The big guy is smoking hot.
Sure.
There you go.
Also, bonus Twig and Berries hot performer. The fact that we got to do more than one bonus episode during the playoffs.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
We have made it through a couple of rounds now. We still got some work to do. Job number 3 on deck.
This is our 9th playoff episode.
Including 2.
And we're
from
guaranteed a
previous
10th and an 11th.
Exactly.
I love it.
And I think we'd be guaranteed a 12th, too.
I love it.
Technically.
Job's not done.
Nuh-uh.
Let's fucking get after it.
More podcasts.
More podcasts, more bonus episodes. But that's going to wrap it up for episode 200. I hope you guys are listening to this and enjoy your weekend. Oilers are moving on to the Western Conference Final. I want to thank DoorDash. I want to thank Oodle Noodle, Cornerstone Insurance, Buster's Pizza, and Twig and Berries for making this all possible. Most importantly, all of you for welcoming us into your lives twice a week during the playoffs. For Dan, Liam, Rick, and Tyler, I'm Bag Milk. This is Oilers Nation Radio, episode 200. Have a great weekend.
Shout out Milan Lucic.
Shout out Ben Stelter. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks for listening to Oilers Nation Radio, delivered by DoorDash. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram.
The story behind Edmonton versus